Hello, Chem 1. We're back for the second half of the video on how to balance equations. But before we get to that, I want to show you what your assignments are for this week. If you go to your OneNote, I'm going to go ahead and bring up OneNote on my computer. You can see that on your OneNote, it still says later today because right now it's 9:40 at night and I'm doing these videos. Hopefully they'll get done before I go to bed tonight. There is a series of videos of other professionals on how to balance equations. But also under this week's assignments, there is a Google Classroom balancing equations quiz for you to do. It has a small amount of counting atoms and balancing equations. And then also in your OneNote homework folder, there is a balancing equations practice quiz. So I'm going to go ahead to Aiden's homework folder because he's first on the alphabet. And go ahead and look in his homework folder. And in his homework folder, there's something labeled Balancing Equations Practice. So if you go to this link that is attached to the images there, you'll be brought to a screen that looks a lot like the one that's below it in your homework folder. You're going to choose 25 questions and balancing only, and you're going to attempt to balance a whole lot of questions, 25 of them, as a matter of fact. And then as soon as you do it in such a way that you get 22 out of 25 correct, you're going to go ahead and screenshot your screen with the results on it and post it immediately below this part of the screen. So what I can do is I can go into my end and I can bring up every one of your homework folders for this particular assignment and see whether or not you have actually scored a successful 22 out of 25 or not. It might take you a couple times over. It is just like last time when we did the balancing writing of formulas. It does take some practice to get good at it. So that's your homework or your assignments for this week is to do the little balancing equations with 10 little quickies, and then you're going to do this 25 plus. This is a skill that you absolutely positively need in order to go into the next section that we'll be doing next week. So this is the one thing you're going to be doing this week is balancing chemical equations. So let's get back to the PowerPoint. So here's our practice problem for today for this video. We're going to do 3 different practice problems. We're going to walk through them in a logical fashion. So we have a reaction with barium hydroxide reacting with sulfuric acid to produce barium sulfate and water. Go ahead and pause the video for a second and try to write your formulas for this balanced equation. So how did you do? Did you get this? Did you get barium hydroxide, sulfuric acid, barium sulfate, and water? And the reason why these are like this, if I can get my mouse to work, go back to this pointer, is, and I don't like red, so I'm going to go to like a brighter color, yellow or white. I don't like yellow. And we know that barium is +2, hydroxide is -1, hydrogen is +1, sulfate is -2, barium is +2, sulfate is -2, and water is H2O. So now that you've written the formulas correctly, or at least have corrected your formulas, go ahead and try to balance this equation. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to pause the video for a minute, and then we'll come back and see how you did. So let's go ahead and see how you did. I'm going to go ahead and walk through this one, see if you did the same thing. I'm going to look for my bariums, and my oxygens, and my hydrogens, and my sulfurs, and this is a lot like the last one we did because the same basic elements are there except for aluminum instead of barium. Let's count our bariums. We have 1 barium on each side. We have 2 + 4 or 6 oxygens on this side, and 4 + 1 or 5 oxygens on that side. We have 2 + 2 or 4 hydrogens on this side. We only have 2 over here. And then we have 1 sulfur on each side. So face value, this looks actually pretty good. Bariums and sulfurs are balanced. That's good. So let's see what we need to do. Well, much like the last example we did on the previous video, oxygens are all over the place. So we're going to do that one last. So let's take care of the hydrogens. We have 4 hydrogens on the left-hand side, and we have 2 on the right-hand side. But they're just in this one compound. So if we put a 2 here, this becomes 4. Now I have the same number of bariums, same number of hydrogens, same number of sulfurs. Let's take care of those oxygens. But wait, what happened? We have 4 plus now 2 oxygens. Oxygens took care of themselves. This equation is now balanced. So the coefficient, we only had to add 1 coefficient to this one, and that was to put a 2 out in front of the water to get barium plus sulfuric acid to give you barium sulfate and water. Okay, let's try this one. Aluminum reacts with copper 1 nitrate to produce copper and aluminum nitrate. So go ahead and pause the video and write your formulas, and let's see how you did. So let's see how you did. Did you get this? Aluminum plus copper 1 nitrate. Oh, I forgot to put that, change that. Did I change it in the previous one? Yes, I did. So it's copper 1 nitrate to gives you copper and aluminum nitrate. Again, aluminum is always going to be +3. And copper in this case was +1. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video and try to balance this equation. Let's see how you did. So aluminum, there's 1 on this side and 1 on that side. Copper, there's 1 on this side and 1 on this side. Nitrogen, there's 1 on this side and 3 on that side. And oxygen, oops, why did I do it over there? This is supposed to be more fun. Oxygens, there is 3 over here, but there are 9 over there. So we need to balance those nitrogens and those oxygens out. So I need to multiply, get 3 nitrogen this side. If I put a 3 here, that gives me 3 nitrogens. That gives me 9 oxygens, but it also gives me 3 coppers. That's okay, I can fix that by putting 3 coppers. And now my equation is balanced. Did you get that? Good job. Okay, last example. Go ahead and write the formula for this one. Now the first one's a little weird because it's a covalent compound, dicarbon hexahydride. Go ahead and write this equation out before trying to balance it. So let's make sure you wrote the formula correctly. Formulas were C2H6 plus O2 gives you carbon dioxide and water. Did you remember that oxygen was diatomic? Okay, so let's try this one. So go ahead and try to balance this on your own. Pause the video and balance this equation. Okay, let's see how you did. This was tricky. This was really, really tricky. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it is. So if you did this, you probably noticed you got some weird numbers. C, H, and O. C, there were 2. There's only 1 over there. H, there was 6. There's only 2 over there. And O, there were 2. There were 2 plus 1 or 3 over here. So you probably balanced it really quickly and said, let me go ahead and put a 2 here. If you're really, really getting the hang of this, you did that. Then you put a 3 here to take care of your hydrogens. And then you got messed up because then if you did the math right, you saw that there were 2 times 2 or 4, 3 times 1, 3, where there were 7. There were 7 oxygens. And that's not cool because I cannot multiply anything times 2 and get 7. At least not a whole number. I can do a fraction. I can make this 3.5, 3.5, and then everything's fine. But I can't use fractions. But I can because now I see my coefficients are, I'm going to write them up here. My coefficients are 1, 3.5, 2, and 3. And if I want to make them all whole numbers, the easiest way to do that is multiply all of them times 2. That gives me coefficients of 2 7, 4, and 3. Oops, not 3. 6. So let's see if that works. Let's erase all these coefficients and let's get rid of some of this stuff. I'm going to get rid of my coefficients and my numbers and all this stuff that's down here. And we're going to see whether it works with those coefficients. It should, because all I did was multiply everything times 2. So it should work, but let's give it a shot. Let's give a peek. So now my new coefficients are, okay, my new coefficients are 2, 7, 4, and 6. Let's do my tallies. Carbon, I have 2 times 2, or 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Hydrogens, I have 6 times 2, or 12. And I have 6 times 2, or 12 hydrogens. And then oxygens, I have 2 times 7, 14. And I have 4 times 2, that's 8. Plus 6 times 1, that's 6. And that is 14. And yes, this equation is balanced. So if you ever find yourself with one of those situations where that 2 is there, go ahead and first off use a fraction and then figure out what you have to multiply through by to get everything to be a whole number. Normally you're going to have to multiply through by a 2. Hopefully that worked out really, really well for you. Remember that you've got 2 assignments this week. You've got the one that's in Google Classroom that's a little simpler, and you have the one that's going to require a little bit of practice, a little bit of time to do the one in the on the one website. Hopefully everybody stays safe, stays healthy, practices your social distancing. I hope to see you real soon. It's been a little over a month now, missing the heck out of everybody. Hopefully, maybe before the end of the year, we'll get together. You guys have a great, great day, great week, and I will see you in our Flex chats on either Tuesday or Thursday this week. Toodles.